Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Cristina Cubrilla Santos. I'm a doctor of acupuncture. I am also a licensed massage therapist, an aerial yoga teacher, coach, and mentor. And today I want to talk about a very interesting topic that has been in my field of interest for some time, and that is epigenetics and how epigenetics is influenced by our lifestyle. So, what is epigenetics in the first place, right? I think most of us are familiar with genetics and genetic health. However, epigenetics, what epi means is it comes from Greek and it means on top. So, epigenetics is something that's developed before we're even born, and it basically affects our DNA, but not the DNA sequencing, right? So, the nucleotide sequencing is still the same. However, certain things in our life, be it environment, be it diet, the frame of our mind, our mindset, all of these things can affect our gene expression, but it's not permanent, right? It doesn't need to be permanent. So that's pretty much how the epigenetics functions. Things in our environment can influence specific gene expressions. So some genes, based on our lifestyle factors, can be expressed or don't necessarily have to be expressed. So, for instance, you may be carrying a gene for cancer, let's say, right? Maybe you have a BRCA gene, which is a gene that predisposes you to breast cancer. Now, let's say you lead a very healthy lifestyle. You eat well, you eat organically, you eat with the seasons, you eat from the soil that's native to the land where you live. Maybe you practice meditation and you are calm and tranquil, and your internal environment is stable, meaning that your thoughts are clear, you don't stress too much, etc. In which case, your lifestyle, your way of thinking, your diet, all of that has a positive effect on gene expression. Meaning that if you are a carrier of BRCA gene, the gene for breast cancer, it may not necessarily be expressed because you're doing everything right for yourself. So, your thoughts, your diet, overall lifestyle. Um, Now let's compare that with someone who is also a gene carrier. However, their lifestyle is completely different. So they have a poor diet, meaning they eat fast food regularly. Their thoughts are cluttered with negativity and just toxicity. Maybe you watch too many shows that are violent and just negative aspects of human being that you're just constantly feeding your brain with. All of those things can take effect on our gene expression. And on top of that, if you don't meditate, if you and maybe you eat right, but your internal environment, meaning your state of mind, is in disarray, then there are more chances for the genes to be expressed, these particular genes that are disease carriers, like the BRCA gene. So that's just one example of how our lifestyle habits, our mindset, and our diet can influence epigenetics and our epigenetic health. So the reason why I'm so interested in epigenetics is because I'm a Chinese medical practitioner, I'm a meditator, I practice Qigong, I teach Qigong, and when I work with patients and clients, I don't just utilize acupuncture anymore, but I'm really big on energy healing and setting the right mindset and getting rid of outdated belief systems, because all of those are factors that can influence gene expression. And if you are a person that maybe has a family history of different diseases, let's say asthma or Alzheimer's or something of that nature, that doesn't mean that your genes will express those diseases as well. If you create a lifestyle for yourself, um, where, like I mentioned earlier, you eat in the seasons, you eat locally, and you create these internal energetic cultivating practices for yourself, such as meditation and yoga and pranayama, breath work, and maybe qigong, like I mentioned, or tai chi. These are all wonderful practices that will create a calm and tranquil and healing internal environment. So no matter what your genetic makeup, you can create changes for gene expression. Um, and again, because I said epigenetic changes are not permanent, that's why I emphasize the consistency of inner work. And again, what inner work is, it can be gratitude journaling, it can be meditation, it can be prayer, it can be connecting to the nature, but just reducing toxic load from your environment. So drinking filtered water, not using plastic bottles, switching to glass water bottles, making sure that you don't get too much exposure in your environment from a mold. So being mindful of where you live, what type of environment you live in, so there are not too many environmental factors. So all of those things can help you in the long run if you're consistent with these practices, if you're consistently working on yourself and creating an internal environment that is conducive to healthy cells, a healthy DNA. So yeah, in reality, all of these things are quite simple, but sometimes the simplest things are hard to maintain in the long run. That's why habit stacking is very important. If you haven't read the book called The Atomic Habits, I highly recommend it. I use it as part of the program that I teach when I work with clients. So find ways to cultivate yourself, to create a peaceful, tranquil environment for yourself, so your cellular and DNA health can be, positive in the long run. So you can be as healthy as you can be, and making sure that you stay with those positive, good habits. And I don't want to say that things are good or bad, but for instance, someone can be a smoker and be completely healthy otherwise, because maybe their internal state of mind is not one of like, oh my God, I know smoking is so bad for me, I'm gonna get cancer. But in reality, they are taking care of themselves in other ways. So I never like to judge people just based on some of what may be considered bad or poor habits, because everyone's constitution is different, everyone's state of mind is different, so we can't judge people just on appearances and what seems to be their habits, but by delving deeper into the nature of who they are as a human being, what are their thought patterns, what are their mindsets, what are their belief system about themselves, people around them, and life in general. So I hope you can take a little bit of a nugget of wisdom from what I shared with you, so you can get on a good path for yourself, a path of internal cultivation, which will affect your DNA expression, your gene expression. And some of the other practices that can be implemented are obviously acupuncture as well. And for me, I specialize in classical acupuncture that addresses DNA health, because I'm so passionate about that topic and subject. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you in my next video. Have a lovely week. Take care.